Hi, it's Mark Donegan. A lot of copywriters believe AI can't write ads that actually sell. But that's the wrong question. The real issue isn't whether AI can write, it's whether you're giving it a structure that produces something persuasive. In this episode, we break down how structured promise leads transform generic AI output into direct response copy that converts. I've spent years building sales messaging systems for B2B tech companies, and the pattern is always the same. Frameworks outperform guesswork. Let's get into the conversation.
Tune in, listen up, it's marketing time. Bright ideas sparking, blowing your mind. From strategies to big exec dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Welcome to the Marketing Execution Podcast. This is the show for tech founders and leaders building B2B products and technologies. We show you how to go further, faster to get the business results you need.
From strategies to big exec dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Mark, I've been sitting with this question for a few days now, and I genuinely can't shake it. Can AI actually write copy that sells? Like, really sells? Not just okay marketing fluff, but the kind of direct response stuff that moves people to action.
You know, Tim, that's the question everyone's dancing around right now. And I think most people are asking it wrong. They're asking, can AI write great copy? When they should be asking, how do you get AI to write great copy? Because the answer to the first question is absolutely yes, but there's a catch.
Okay, I'm hooked. What's the catch?
The catch is that AI is only as good as the framework you give it. I was reading through some really fascinating stuff about this, and here's what clicked for me. The people who are crushing it with AI copywriting aren't just typing in prompts like, write me an ad. They're feeding AI proven structures, specifically something called great leads.
Great leads, like from that classic copywriting book?
Yes, exactly. So there are basically 6 types of leads that have been proven to grab attention and sell. And when you teach AI these frameworks, Tim, it's like giving a really smart intern the playbook from the best copywriters who ever lived.
So you're basically saying the AI isn't the magic, the framework is the magic.
That's it. That's the whole thing right there. And here's what I love about this approach. Let me walk you through one example that really stuck with me. It's called the promise lead.
Okay, break it down for me.
So a promise lead opens with your biggest, boldest benefit. It has to tie directly into what your customer desperately wants. Like, imagine you're selling to someone with joint pain. A promise lead might say something like, what if you could erase your joint pain in 14 days or less without drugs, surgery, or wasted money on mainstream solutions?
Wow, that's specific. The 14-day thing really hits different.
Right? And that specificity is everything. When you give AI a framework that says, hey, make an ambitious promise, tie it to their core desire, and be ultra specific about the timeline or the outcome, suddenly the output isn't generic anymore. It's actually compelling.
So for our listeners who are, founders trying to figure out their marketing, how would they actually use this?
Okay, so here's the practical piece. And this is something we talk about a lot on the Marketing Execution Podcast. You need to give AI 3 things: your product, your customer, and their core desire. That's the foundation. Then you tell AI which type of lead you want: promise lead, story lead, secret lead, whatever fits your situation.
And the AI just knows what to do with that?
Well, you got to be more specific than that. You literally spell out the structure. Like for a promise lead, you tell the AI to write a headline with an ambitious promise, then elaborate on it by providing credentials, explaining the customer's unsatisfying status quo, revealing the key insight that changes everything, and describing the transformation they can expect.
So it's almost like you're programming the AI with copywriting wisdom.
Exactly. And here's the thing that blows my mind. I once heard of a founder who was spending like 10 hours a week trying to write ads. Decent ads, but nothing special. She started using this framework approach with AI, and suddenly she's cranking out variations in minutes, not just faster, but better, because she's standing on the shoulders of giants, you know?
That's wild. But okay, I gotta push back a little here. Doesn't this feel kind of, I don't know, formulaic? Like, won't everything start sounding the same?
See, that's the fear everyone has. But think about it this way. Music has structure, right? Verse, chorus, bridge. Does that mean all songs sound the same? No. The framework gives you a foundation. What you build on top of it, that's where your unique voice comes in. The specific stories you tell, the exact benefits you highlight, the way you describe your customer's pain.
Okay, that actually makes sense.
And here's another thing. The best copywriters in history, they all used frameworks. They just kept them secret or, charged a fortune to teach them. Now, you can encode that wisdom into AI and scale it.
So what's stopping everyone from doing this? Why isn't every startup pumping out killer copy?
Honestly, most people are lazy with their prompts. They treat AI like a vending machine. Put in a quarter, get a snack. But AI copywriting is more like cooking. You need quality ingredients, a good recipe, and some skill in execution.
I love that analogy. Quality ingredients being like knowing your customer deeply?
Exactly. If you don't know your customer's core desire, no framework in the world is going to save you. You got to do that homework first. What keeps them up at night? What do they really want? Not what they say they want, but what they actually dream about. And that's the part AI can't do for you. Maybe someday AI will interview your customers for you and synthesize their deepest desires. But right now, that's still your job as the founder. You bring the insight, AI brings the execution speed.
You know what's funny? This whole conversation is making me think about something bigger. Like, the founders who are going to win aren't the ones who ignore AI or the ones who blindly trust it. It's the ones who learn to be really good partners with it.
That's exactly right. Partnership. That's the word.
Tim, that's fascinating. Let's pivot for a second and talk about what this means for a founder who's never written copy in for a life.
You know what, Tim? That's actually where this gets really interesting. Because the founder who's never written copy before, they might actually have an advantage.
Wait, hold on. How is that possible? I would have thought the opposite.
I know. It sounds backwards, but think about it. Experienced copywriters often have to unlearn bad habits. They've picked up tricks that worked 10 years ago but fall flat today. The first-time founder, they're a blank slate. They can learn the right frameworks from day one.
So you're saying inexperience can actually be a gift here?
In a weird way, yes. Look, I know of a founder who built a 7-figure SaaS company. Never wrote a single ad before starting. She told me her secret was that she didn't know what she couldn't do. So she just fed the AI these proven structures and tested everything.
But she still had to understand her customer, right?
Oh, absolutely. That part doesn't change. And here's the aha moment I keep coming back to. The frameworks we talked about, the promise lead, all of those, they're not just templates. They're actually forcing functions to help customers understand.
What do you mean by forcing function?
Okay, so when you sit down to write a promise lead, you have to answer certain questions. What's the biggest benefit? What does my customer desperately want? What timeline can I honestly promise? You can't fake your way through those answers. The framework demands clarity.
So the framework itself teaches you to think like a marketer.
Exactly. And this is why I get so fired up about this stuff. For years, great copywriting was this mysterious dark art. You either had the gift or you didn't. But now, the frameworks make it learnable. AI makes it scalable. The playing field is genuinely leveling out.
You know what strikes me about this? It's almost like the real skill isn't writing anymore, it's thinking.
Tim, yes, that's the shift. The thinking is the hard part. Understanding your customer's pain so deeply that you can articulate it better than they can. Once you have that clarity, the actual writing becomes almost mechanical.
And that's where AI steps in.
AI handles the mechanical part at incredible speed. But the insight, the empathy, the deep understanding of what makes your specific customer tick, that's still profoundly human work.
So for a founder listening right now, feeling totally overwhelmed by marketing, what should they take away from this?
I'd say this: stop thinking you need to become a great writer. Start thinking about becoming a great understander. Understand your customer, understand their desires, understand their pain. Then let the frameworks and AI do the heavy lifting on the actual words.
That feels so much more achievable, honestly.
It is more achievable. And here's the beautiful part. Every conversation you have with a customer, every support ticket you read, every review you analyze, you're building that understanding muscle. It compounds over time.
So the founders who win are the ones who stay obsessively close to their customer.
Always has been true, but now that closeness translates directly into better AI output. It's like having a superpower you can actually use.
All right, Mark, this is making my brain spin in the best way. I think our listeners are probably wondering how they actually put this into practice tomorrow morning. Let's get into the tactical stuff next.
Okay, so step one is stupidly simple. You gotta write down your customer's core desire in one sentence. Let's say you're selling project management software. Bad version, my customer wants to manage projects better. That's vague garbage. Good version, my customer wants to ship products on time without working weekends.
Wow, that second one hits different.
Right? Because it's specific. It names the outcome and the pain they're avoiding. Once you have that sentence, you feed it directly into your AI prompt. Your prompt is basically your creative brief. Garbage in, garbage out. So here's what I tell founders to include. Your product name, your customer in plain language, and that core desire sentence we just talked about.
That's it? 3 things?
For the basic version, yeah. Then you add the framework. You tell the AI you want a promise lead. You explain what that means. Big benefit up front. Specific timeline if possible. Tie it to the desire.
Can you walk through a real example?
Absolutely. So I know a SaaS founder who sells email automation tools. She used this exact process. Her core desire sentence was, my customer wants to double their email revenue without hiring a marketing team.
Okay, solid. And what happened next?
She fed that into Claude with the promised lead structure. Burst output was decent, but generic. Said something like, boost your email results fast. Boring.
Yeah, I've seen a million ads like that.
Exactly. So she iterated, added more context about her specific customer. Solo founders running e-commerce stores. Second output, what if you could double your email revenue in 60 days without hiring anyone or learning complex software?
Now that was stopping my spro.
And it did. Her click-through rate jumped 40%. But here's the key. She didn't accept the first output. She refined it, tested, kept pushing. The iteration piece is non-negotiable. Think of AI like a really fast intern. Smart, but needs direction. Your job is to keep redirecting until the output matches what you know about your customer.
What about founders who don't have customer data yet?
Great question. Go find it. Seriously. Reddit threads, G2 reviews of competitors, Amazon reviews of related products. Your customers are already complaining somewhere online. Screenshot those exact words and paste them into your prompts.
Though the research feeds the AI, which produces the copy.
It's a loop. Research, prompt, output, test, learn, repeat. The founders who treat this like a system instead of a one-time thing, they win.
All right, Mark, we've covered a ton of ground today. Can you pull it all together for our listeners? What are the key things they should walk away with?
All right, let me bring this all together. We started by asking whether AI can actually write copy that sells. The answer is yes, but only when you give it proven frameworks like the promise lead. The magic isn't in the AI itself. The magic is in the structure you feed it. Then we talked about how first-time founders actually have an advantage here because they can learn the right approach from day one without unlearning bad habits. The real skill isn't just about writing anymore. It's thinking deeply about your customer. And finally, we got tactical. Write down your customer's core desire in one specific sentence. Feed that into your prompt with a clear framework. Then iterate until the output matches what you know about your audience. Research, prompt, output, test, learn, repeat. That's the system.
Mark, after everything we've covered today, what's the one thing you really hope our listeners don't forget?
AI didn't replace great marketers. It exposed the ones who were never really great to begin with. The founders who deeply understand their customers now have a superpower. The ones who were just guessing, they're still guessing, just faster. So stop asking whether AI can write good copy. Start asking whether you truly know what your customer wants. because that understanding is the only thing that was ever going to make your marketing work. The Marketing Execution Podcast is produced by Growth Stage Marketing. We are on a mission to see your company reach wild success using marketing pods.
Too big, accept dreams. Catch the buzz and join the execution. Marketing Convo.
Thank you for listening and being a part of the marketing execution movement and community. To learn how growth stage marketing clients reach more buyers and drive business impact, go to growthstage.marketing. That's growthstage.marketing.